Why staying single is the best thing you can do. It's a profound question worth exploring. Could what we commonly perceive as love sometimes be nothing more than a profound fear of being alone? What if, at the core of many relationships, there isn't a true, authentic connection, but rather an unconscious effort to escape the deep, often uncomfortable silence that resides within us? The ancient Stoic philosophers offered timeless wisdom on this, reminding us that the chains we choose for ourselves are often the hardest to break. And, perhaps more insidiously, these chains frequently come disguised in attractive packaging. They might appear as the sweet promises of romance, the soothing comfort of companionship, or the appealing security of stability. Yet, despite these outward appearances, a nagging feeling deep down tells you that something isn't quite right, that an essential piece is missing or misaligned. The unfortunate reality is that many individuals don't enter into relationships from a place of inner strength and wholeness. Instead, they often seek partnership because they are genuinely afraid of confronting themselves, of sitting with their own thoughts and feelings. They would much rather immerse themselves in another person's problems, dramas, and challenges than face the quiet introspection of their own minds. This avoidance is precisely why so many people gradually diminish, losing pieces of their authentic selves just to maintain a connection, however flawed, with another person. The great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wisely advised, "Don't fear death, fear never starting to live." And tragically, this is exactly what happens when one cannot bear the thought of being single. You cease to truly live your own life, instead existing in a state of constant negotiation and compromise. This exploration is not intended to foster a hatred for love, nor is it a recommendation to embrace solitude forever. Quite the opposite, in fact. Its purpose is to empower you, to help you reclaim your inherent strength and autonomy. It's about cultivating the ability to stand firmly and confidently on your own 2 feet, so that if and when you do choose to share your life with someone, that choice stems from a place of genuine desire and freedom, not from a desperate underlying need. Because true, profound love can only flourish when it originates from a foundation of freedom, not from the constricting grip of fear. So, before we delve into the 10 compelling reasons why consciously choosing to stay single could be the most transformative decision you make for yourself, please consider hitting that subscribe button. What we're cultivating here is more than just conversation. It's a movement dedicated to providing you with the crystal clear clarity and unwavering strength necessary to truly live life on your own, uncompromised terms. Avoiding detrimental attachments. When you intentionally choose the path of singleness, you grant yourself one of life's most potent forms of protection, the ability to consciously avoid entangling yourself with the wrong people. Pause for a moment and consider the profound impact this has. How many lives have been irrevocably altered, even tragically derailed or destroyed, simply because someone allowed themselves to become deeply attached to a partner who was fundamentally unsuitable for them? It doesn't necessarily require an inherently bad person to cause immense damage. Often it only takes someone who is simply wrong for you. A relationship with such a person does far more than just waste your precious time. It can devour years of your personal growth, siphon away your vital energy, and even erode your very sense of identity. The danger lies in desperation. When you are frantically seeking love or companionship, you tend to lower your guard, becoming less discerning and cautious. You fail to take the essential pause required to ask critical questions like, is this person genuinely good for me? Do they truly respect my boundaries and my personal space? Do they bring peace and harmony into my life, or do they primarily introduce drama and chaos? Instead, driven by an urgent need, you might plunge headfirst into a connection, clutching onto the hope that this new person will magically alleviate the gnawing loneliness you're so terrified to confront. And that, tragically, is precisely when the real trouble begins. You start rationalizing away glaring red flags, making endless excuses for their problematic behaviors, and gradually, almost imperceptibly, you begin to lose sight of who you truly are. Staying single acts as an impenetrable shield against this destructive trap. The Stoic philosophers, with their profound understanding of human nature, consistently championed freedom as the highest good. They spoke of freedom not merely as political liberty, but as liberation from the tyranny of your own unexamined desires, and freedom from being shackled by the opinions and expectations of others. When you are single, you possess this invaluable freedom in its purest form. You are not bound by another's volatile mood swings, nor are you constantly seeking their elusive approval or navigating their toxic habits. You have the unburdened capacity to walk through life without the exhausting task of perpetually cleaning up someone else's emotional or practical messes. Let's be brutally honest. How many individuals worldwide settle for partners who relentlessly drain their spirit, amplify their stress, or actively hold them back from their potential? All because the thought of being alone is too terrifying to bear. Being single empowers you to wield the potent word, no. No to manipulation. No to someone who consistently fails to value your worth. No to anyone who attempts to control your authentic self. You are under no obligation to justify why you haven't texted back immediately, why you prefer a quiet evening over a social outing, or why your current focus is intensely directed towards your own personal development. You belong, unequivocally, to yourself. This is a profound power, one that far too many people carelessly discard merely to avoid the temporary discomfort of being single. And here's the beautiful outcome. When you are not desperate, you become incredibly difficult to deceive. Your perception of others sharpens considerably. You are no longer blinded by an overwhelming need, which allows you to genuinely distinguish between those who are sincere and those who are merely performing. You discern who genuinely respects you and who is only interested in exploiting you for their own gain. In a very real sense, singleness hones your inner vision. It acts as a training ground, teaching you to effectively filter out detrimental attachments long before they have the opportunity to draw close enough to cause you harm. Marcus Aurelius once eloquently wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." To that timeless wisdom we might add, the happiness of your life also profoundly depends on the quality of the people you choose to allow into it. When you remain single until you are strong enough, clear-headed enough, and patient enough to make truly wise choices about your companions, you circumvent at least half the emotional pain and struggle that most people needlessly endure. Therefore, do not mistakenly view being single as a punishment or a deficit. Instead, embrace it as a formidable shield, a shield that vigilantly protects your irreplaceable time, your finite energy, and your precious soul from individuals who simply do not deserve them. Because the undeniable truth is, it is far better to be contentedly alone than to be miserably attached to the wrong person. Each day you consciously choose to remain single, you are not missing out on anything vital. On the contrary, you are actively saving yourself from years of potential damage and regret, losses you might never fully recover. This is the foremost gift of singleness. You maintain the pristine integrity of your life, free from the entanglements of wrong attachments. You safeguard your heart, your mind, and the clarity of your chosen path. And when the truly right person eventually appears in your life, you will be prepared to meet them from a place of genuine readiness, not from a debilitating state of neediness. Reclaiming your time and autonomy. One of the most profound and often undervalued gifts of staying single is this undeniable truth. Your time becomes entirely and unequivocally your own. Take a moment to truly reflect on what this means. When you are entangled in an unsuitable relationship, your precious hours, your days, and even your cherished weekends often become a subject of constant negotiation, frequently whittled away by external demands. Suddenly, you find yourself living primarily according to someone else's schedule, rhythm, and desires. Where you go, what activities you engage in, and even whom you choose to spend time with. All these aspects of your life are compelled to pass through another person's subjective filter. And if that individual doesn't value your time with the same reverence you do, the inevitable outcome is that you will feel perpetually drained, increasingly frustrated, and consistently behind on the pursuits and responsibilities that genuinely matter to you. However, when you embrace singleness, you seize full ownership of your time. You gain the unparalleled liberty to shape your mornings precisely as you wish. You can delve into a captivating book, pursue an invigorating workout, or simply savor a quiet cup of coffee without interruption. You have the freedom to stay up late, enthusiastically chasing an idea or creative project that ignites your passion, without the underlying worry of someone complaining about your absence from bed. You can spontaneously embark on a trip with minimal notice, immerse yourself deeply in a new hobby, or simply sit in profound silence, breathing and reflecting, all without the need to seek permission or offer explanations. This, truly, is authentic freedom, the very kind that most people unknowingly trade away, piece by painful piece, in the pursuit of companionship. The Stoics, with their deep insights into human flourishing, considered time to be our most invaluable possession, even more precious than wealth or social status. Seneca articulated this wisdom with striking clarity. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. And one of the most egregious ways individuals squander their finite lives is by thoughtlessly surrendering their time to relationships that, rather than nurturing, actively deplete them. Think of the countless hours consumed by petty arguments, by maintaining a fragile artificial peace, or by fruitlessly attempting to fix another person's internal chaos. These are hours, moments, and days that, once gone, are irretrievable. When you are single, you are compelled to recognize and appreciate the profound power inherent in your time. You become acutely aware of how much you can accomplish, how deeply you can focus, when you are not burdened by the constant need to check in, to offer justifications, or to compromise on every minor decision. This reclaimed time becomes a fertile ground, allowing you to pour your energy unreservedly into building yourself, enhancing your health, expanding your mind, advancing your career, and crystallizing your personal vision. And here's the truly remarkable aspect. Every single hour you deliberately invest in yourself, while unencumbered by another's demands, compounds exponentially. It grows, multiplies, and pays dividends. Just 1 year of focused, intentional personal growth during a season of singleness can position you a decade ahead of someone who continuously squanders their time and energy on relationships that ultimately hold them back. Furthermore, true freedom over your time also means you are not living at the mercy of other people's fluctuating moods. You are liberated from the need to cancel your important plans because someone else is upset or emotionally unstable. You are not forced to dedicate your precious weekends to mediating or patching up conflicts that are not even yours. Your time belongs exclusively to you, and as a direct consequence of this ownership, your energy remains cleaner, sharper, and far more focused. You begin to witness how expansively life unfolds, how many new possibilities emerge when you are not perpetually negotiating with another individual about how to allocate your minutes. Let's be brutally honest. Time is the one resource you can never, ever earn back. You might lose money, but you can always generate more. You might miss opportunities, but new ones will inevitably arise. However, once a day has passed, it is gone forever, an irretrievable fragment of your existence. So, ask yourself this sobering question. How much of your irreplaceable time have you already dedicated to people who demonstrably did not deserve it? How many hours have been spent in unproductive arguments, offering apologies for transgressions you didn't even commit, or anxiously waiting for someone to finally appreciate your worth? Staying single offers you the invaluable opportunity to reclaim all that lost time, to repurpose it in ways that genuinely build you up, strengthen your core, and propel you forward towards your highest potential. And here lies a profound paradox. When you finally cultivate the fierce discipline to guard your time as a single person, you become far less likely to waste it when you eventually encounter someone truly worthy. You will naturally develop higher, more discerning standards. You will quickly recognize who genuinely respects your time and who does not. And crucially, you will not hesitate for a moment to walk away from anyone who attempts to steal or devalue it. Therefore, never perceive your season of singleness as empty or lacking. Instead, View it as arguably the most valuable and formative period of your entire life. Because right now, your time belongs completely to you, and what you choose to do with it will, quite literally, shape the entirety of your future. Cultivating undistracted self-mastery. When you embrace singleness, a truly transformative and powerful phenomenon begins to unfold. You are granted the invaluable space and quietude to profoundly master yourself. There's no constant relationship drama to navigate, no tumultuous emotional roller coasters to endure, and no incessant distractions pulling your focus away from your most significant goals and aspirations. Instead, it's just you, your thoughts, and the unyielding discipline required to meticulously sculpt the kind of person you are destined to become. Herein lies an often overlooked truth. Relationships, while undeniably capable of being beautiful and enriching, can also be incredibly noisy. They frequently inundate your mind with an endless barrage of check-ins, anxieties about your partner's opinions, and compromises that slowly but surely erode your core focus. You might begin to lose track of your own deepest priorities, simply because you are perpetually preoccupied with managing someone else's complex emotional landscape. And while such dedication might be lauded as love, it frequently leaves you feeling weaker and more scattered, rather than intrinsically stronger and more grounded. When you consciously choose to remain single, you effectively eliminate this pervasive background noise. Suddenly, your mornings aren't ushered in by arguments or tension, and your evenings aren't consumed by stress that isn't even your own. You gain the precious mental and emotional space to truly ask yourself, what do I genuinely desire for my life? Who is the person I aspire to become? And crucially, you then have the uninterrupted time and focused energy to actually undertake the rigorous work required to achieve those aspirations. This, precisely, is self-mastery in action. The Stoic philosophers spoke of self-mastery as the very bedrock of a meaningful life. Epictetus famously declared, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And indeed, how can one possibly master oneself if constantly diverted and entangled by someone else's emotional chaos and personal drama? Self-mastery entails the deliberate cultivation of habits that render you unshakable. Waking up early not out of obligation, but because you genuinely desire to seize the day. Diligently training your body, assiduously sharpening your mind, acquiring new, valuable skills, and establishing routines that consistently provide you with internal strength and resilience. When you are single, there are genuinely no excuses. No external force is actively preventing you. No person is deliberately pulling you off your chosen track. Consider for a moment how many individuals unwittingly squander years of their lives attempting to salvage or fix toxic and dysfunctional relationships. They spend their precious nights embroiled in arguments instead of engaging in enriching activities like reading, pursuing physical fitness, or building something meaningful. They waste their valuable mornings recovering from draining conflicts instead of intentionally setting the tone for their day with clarity and purpose. They lavish their very best energy on trying to keep someone else perpetually happy, rather than wisely investing it in their own profound growth and development. That emphatically is not mastery. That is a form of self-imposed slavery. But when you embrace singleness, every single ounce of your energy can be channeled directly into building you. You possess the unadulterated freedom to commit to hitting the gym consistently, to dedicate yourself to writing, to immerse yourself in study, to relentlessly pursue your entrepreneurial hustle, to practice mindful meditation, or simply to focus on continuous personal evolution. And the most gratifying aspect is that the results accumulate rapidly. Discipline, much like compound interest, grows exponentially. The small, consistent wins build an unshakable sense of confidence, and that burgeoning confidence in turn makes you truly unstoppable. Self-mastery extends beyond mere discipline. It is also fundamentally about developing profound emotional strength. When you are single, you are, by necessity, compelled to face yourself squarely. There is no partner to deflect blame onto when you falter, no one to distract you when you experience moments of low mood or self-doubt. You learn to sit with your emotions, your deepest fears, your most persistent doubts, and by courageously confronting them head-on, you invariably grow stronger. You acquire the invaluable skills of self-soothing, of self-motivation, and of resiliently bouncing back from adversity. This is the essence of true resilience, a quality that far too many people never fully develop because they are perpetually leaning on someone else for support and validation. And here is the crucial truth. If you cannot master yourself when you are alone, you will almost certainly never truly master yourself within the complex dynamics of a relationship. Because relationships, by their very nature, are tests. They push your boundaries, trigger your insecurities, and relentlessly challenge your patience. If your internal foundation is not steady and strong, you are highly susceptible to breaking under that pressure. However, when you have already diligently built strength and fortitude in the crucible of solitude, you carry that inherent strength with you, an inner anchor, wherever life may take you. So, do not view singleness as an empty void or a gap in your life's narrative. Instead, perceive it as a rigorous training ground, a transformative boot camp for your soul, a sacred space where you meticulously sharpen your discipline, master your emotional responses, and evolve into the kind of individual who doesn't merely survive the vicissitudes of life, but triumphantly conquers them. This is the third profound truth. Staying single provides you with the unparalleled opportunity to master yourself, free from debilitating distractions. And once you have meticulously built that kind of formidable inner power, nothing and no one in this world can ever genuinely take it away from you. Safeguarding your vital energy. One of the most significant and liberating advantages of staying single is this: you meticulously preserve your vital energy. Let's be brutally honest and acknowledge a universal truth. Absolutely nothing drains your life force faster and more completely than being inextricably tied to the wrong person. Toxic individuals do not merely waste your precious time, they actively poison your inner peace, making you question your own sanity and worth. They relentlessly drag you into a vortex of constant arguments, emotionally manipulate you with guilt trips for daring to desire personal freedom, and ultimately leave you feeling as though, no matter what monumental efforts you expend, it is never, ever enough. That emphatically is not love. It is a slow, agonizing death of your spirit and vitality. When you are single, you are blissfully liberated from the obligation to participate in those draining games. You are not forced to walk on eggshells, constantly tiptoeing around someone else's unpredictable mood swings. You don't have to compulsively check your phone every 5 minutes, paralyzed by the fear that you might inadvertently upset them. Crucially, you are not burdened by the immense weight of someone else's chaos, perpetually resting on your shoulders. Your energy, your most valuable and irreplaceable fuel, remains clean, sharply focused, and entirely your own. The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, issued warnings about such draining influences centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius eloquently penned, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." But how, one must ask, can you possibly cultivate clear, positive thoughts when your environment is saturated with negativity, manipulative tactics, and incessant drama? The undeniable truth is that your immediate environment profoundly shapes your mind, and nothing influences that environment more powerfully than the individuals you permit to draw close. If that primary person in your life is toxic, it is almost inevitable that your own mind will, over time, become tainted by that toxicity. Toxic individuals don't always present themselves as overt villains. Sometimes they appear cleverly disguised as sincere love, as comforting companionship, or as a source of stability. Yet deep within your gut, you feel the undeniable truth. They consume far more than they ever contribute. They demand your unwavering attention and emotional labor, but conspicuously fail to support your growth or aspirations. They seek control, not genuine connection, and if you remain enmeshed with them, your precious energy will be devoured alive by their insecurities, their demands, and their relentless neediness. However, choosing to stay single completely flips that destructive script. It bestows upon you a formidable shield. Instead of expending colossal amounts of energy fighting off their negativity on a daily basis, You maintain the pristine clarity of your inner circle. You deliberately choose peace over pervasive chaos. You choose personal growth over pointless drama. You make the conscious and powerful decision to protect your energy as if it were pure gold, because in fact, it is. Once your energy is depleted, your dreams begin to dim, your focus wavers, and your fundamental happiness starts to fade. Consider the immense power and liberation of waking up each morning without a sense of dread. No looming fights waiting to erupt, no passive-aggressive texts to decode, no emotional roller coaster that drains your spirit even before your day has truly begun. Just silence, just freedom, just the pure, unadulterated space to consciously decide how you want to feel and precisely where you wish to direct your invaluable energy. That, without exaggeration, is priceless. And here's a vital secret. Protecting your energy isn't solely about vigilantly avoiding demonstrably bad people. It's also about diligently building the inner strength and courage to firmly say no. It's about developing the resolve to cut ties decisively when someone reveals their true, detrimental nature, and to confidently walk away without being paralyzed by guilt. Staying single is a rigorous teacher in this crucial life skill, because once you have experienced what it means to live in authentic peace, you become far less willing to tolerate unnecessary chaos. Once you've truly felt the invigorating clarity of clean, unpolluted energy, you instinctively refuse to allow anyone to enter your sanctuary and contaminate it. So, do not misconstrue singleness as merely being alone. Instead, perceive it as being profoundly guarded, much like a seasoned warrior fiercely protecting their sacred flame. You are not indiscriminately permitting just anyone to stomp into your life with muddy shoes and chaotic energy. You are safeguarding the most important asset you possess, your vibrant inner fire. That is the fourth undeniable truth. Staying single acts as an essential barrier, keeping toxic individuals out of your personal space. It provides you with the clarity, the serene calm, and the clean, potent energy you absolutely need to construct the life you genuinely desire. And the longer you diligently protect that precious energy, the stronger, more resilient, and ultimately more unstoppable you become in all aspects of your existence. Embracing the joy of your own company. Initially, the experience of being single can feel profoundly uncomfortable. The silence at first might seem heavy, almost suffocating. You find yourself alone in your room, and suddenly your own thoughts seem louder, more insistent than they've ever been before. Most people in their discomfort instinctively flee from this profound silence. They instinctively grab their phones, compulsively chase external attention, or hastily jump into the very first relationship that presents itself, all in a desperate attempt to avoid confronting that inner quietude. But here is an essential truth. If you cannot genuinely enjoy your own company, if you cannot find peace and contentment within yourself, then absolutely no one else will ever truly be able to fill that deep-seated void for you. Learning to genuinely love and appreciate being with yourself is, without question, one of the most transformative and powerful skills you will ever cultivate in your lifetime. When you choose to stay single, you are, by necessity, compelled to face yourself squarely. Your perceived flaws, your deepest fears, your lingering doubts. But crucially, you also begin to uncover your inherent strengths, your forgotten dreams, and your core values. And the more quality time you spend in this honest self-reflection, more you begin to realize with a growing sense of wonder, wait a minute, I actually genuinely like this person I am becoming. That precisely is the pivotal moment when the paralyzing fear of being alone starts to dissipate, and a truly authentic, unshakable confidence begins to blossom from within. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung once sagely observed, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you." In essence, being surrounded by a multitude of people does not, in itself, cure the ache of loneliness. If you don't truly understand yourself, if you cannot connect authentically with who you genuinely are at your core, you will forever feel a profound sense of isolation, even amidst the most crowded room. But when you diligently learn to cherish and enjoy your own company, you are, quite simply, never truly lonely again. Think about the profound shift that occurs. When you genuinely enjoy your own presence, life feels immeasurably lighter and more joyful. A solitary walk transforms from a potentially boring chore into a peaceful, meditative experience. Eating alone ceases to be a punishment and instead becomes an act of liberating freedom and mindful enjoyment. Quiet evenings evolve into cherished opportunities to delve into a captivating book, to engage in creative pursuits, to dream vividly, and to deeply recharge your spirit. Instead of something you desperately need to escape from, your own company becomes a comforting sanctuary. You stop anxiously waiting for someone else to magically complete your life, because you arrive at the profound realization that you were in fact already whole and complete all along. And here lies the exquisite beauty of this transformation. Once you truly learn to love your own company, you naturally cease to frantically chase after people merely to fill the silence. You stop desperately begging for attention or validation. You stop settling for half-hearted, lukewarm love that leaves you wanting. You stop contorting yourself into unnatural shapes and compromising your integrity just to keep someone else close. Because, quite frankly, why would you? You already find profound joy and contentment in being with yourself. Any relationship that subsequently enters your life from this vantage point becomes a wonderful bonus, a delightful addition, rather than a desperate necessity. You no longer require anyone else to validate your inherent worth. You bring that unshakable value with you into every interaction. The Stoic philosophers consistently taught that genuine happiness is not dependent on external circumstances or possessions. It emanates purely and powerfully from within. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." That, precisely, is the profound discovery you make when you wholeheartedly embrace your own company. You come to understand that happiness doesn't arrive by having someone perpetually sitting across the table from you. It blossoms from the deep, internal knowing that you are more than enough, even in the profound silence of your own presence. And here is the beautiful paradox. The more deeply you love your own company, the healthier and more fulfilling your future relationships become. Why? Because you are no longer desperate for companionship. You are no longer paralyzed by the fear of walking away from something that doesn't serve you. You choose to engage with people from a position of inner strength and abundance, not from a place of fear or scarcity. And that fundamental shift inevitably leads to connections that are healthier, more authentic, and infinitely more real. So do not fear being alone. Do not rush to escape its perceived discomfort. Instead, sit with it. Learn invaluable lessons from it. Grow exponentially within its embrace. Because when you can gaze into a mirror and genuinely enjoy the person staring back at you, you will have unlocked a profound kind of freedom that no external relationship, however wonderful, can ever truly bestow upon you. That is the fifth transformative truth. Staying single teaches you, in the deepest sense, how to love your own company. And once you have mastered that invaluable skill, you will never again have to beg for love. You will simply share the abundant love you already carry within, breaking free from the need for external validation. One of the most insidious and pervasive traps people frequently fall into within relationships is this. They gradually begin to live primarily for external approval. They meticulously shape their words, their significant choices, and even fundamental aspects of their personality around what they perceive the other person thinks or desires. This process happens so subtly and incrementally that at first, you scarcely even notice it. You might find yourself constantly asking, will they like this version of me? Will they still love me if I choose to do that? Before you fully realize what's happening, you are no longer genuinely living your own life. You are, in essence, performing a role for someone else's benefit and approval. When you are single, you are granted the unparalleled opportunity to decisively break free from this suffocating trap. You don't have to wake up each morning consumed by anxiety, wondering if your partner believes you are enough. You are liberated from the compulsion to bend your cherished dreams, modify your personal style of dress, censor your authentic opinions, or diminish your ambitious goals, all simply to maintain someone else's comfort or happiness. You are empowered to be you, fully, unapologetically, and completely. And that, in its purest form, is a taste of freedom that most people never truly experience because they are perpetually caught in the exhausting cycle of trying to prove their worth to others. The truth is, external validation is deceptively addictive. The very moment you begin to chase it, an insatiable hunger takes hold, constantly demanding more. A compliment might feel good for a brief period, but soon you find yourself needing another, and then another. Approval becomes a potent hook, akin to a psychological drug. And the more you rely on someone else to confer a sense of worthiness upon you, the less you retain
a clear memory of your own inherent value.
This is precisely why so many individuals remain trapped in detrimental relationships. They would rather endure the wrong person's approval than bravely risk standing alone and discovering their self-worth independently. However, the Stoic philosophers offered a far more robust and liberating path. Epictetus, with his characteristic directness, advised, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In essence, his counsel was to cease caring so intensely about what other people think. Because if your inner peace and contentment are constantly contingent upon someone else's fickle opinion, you will, by definition, never truly be free. Singleness serves as a rigorous training ground for this profound discipline. It teaches you the invaluable skill of self-validation, to stand strong and resolute without needing external applause, to gaze into the mirror and recognize your inherent worth without requiring anyone else to confirm it for you. Consider just how immensely powerful that internal shift truly is. When you finally cease chasing external validation, you automatically begin to live with greater boldness and authenticity. You pursue goals that genuinely ignite your spirit, rather than those designed solely to impress others. You speak your truth, even when it might be unpopular or challenging. You dress in a way that feels authentic and comfortable to you, rather than meticulously choosing outfits based on what might garner the most likes or approval. Your life, in every sense, becomes unequivocally yours again, pure, authentic, and real. And here lies a beautiful irony. The very moment you genuinely stop chasing validation, you often become paradoxically more attractive to others. People instinctively respect those who do not beg for approval. Confidence radiates like a magnet. Independence possesses an undeniable allure. When you carry yourself with the assurance of someone who simply doesn't need external validation, others, perhaps surprisingly, often become eager to bestow it upon you anyway. But here's the crucial distinction. You no longer depend on it. It's a pleasant bonus, a welcome addition, but it is no longer your essential oxygen. Staying single provides you with the crucial space and opportunity to practice this profound self-affirmation, to confidently declare, I am enough. Even right here, even right now, even without any external applause. This journey is not always easy. There will be days when you feel an almost irresistible urge to post something online, just to see who reacts or approves. There will be nights when you genuinely miss hearing, I love you, from another voice. But when you courageously push through those transient feelings, when you learn to cultivate and give yourself that fundamental love first, you will reach a level of inner strength that most people never even begin to touch. So, let's be unequivocally clear. The pursuit of external validation is a cunning trap that systematically steals your freedom and diminishes your spirit. But staying single actively helps you escape it. It instills within you the profound understanding
that your intrinsic worth is not held in someone else's fragile hands. It resides, steadfast and true, already within your own. And when you finally internalize and believe that truth with every fiber of your being, you cease performing, you cease begging, you cease shrinking. You truly begin to live. That is the sixth profound truth. Staying single liberates you from the endless, exhausting hunger for external validation. And once you cease chasing approval, you finally become the magnificent person you were always destined to be.
forging inner strength through solitude. There is an inherent quality about being alone that profoundly intimidates most people. They hear the very word solitude and immediately conjure images of oppressive loneliness, an aching emptiness, or even a perceived weakness. However, the profound truth is that solitude is anything but weakness. It is, in its truest essence, training. It is the spiritual gym for your soul, the crucible where you forge an inner strength that no external relationship can ever genuinely bestow upon you. When you embrace singleness, you are, in many ways, purposefully thrust into solitude, whether your immediate inclination likes it or not. At first, this experience can feel immensely heavy. The absence of external noise makes the internal silence deafeningly loud. You become acutely aware of your deepest doubts, your most ingrained fears, and your subtle insecurities. And this precise discomfort is the primary reason why so many individuals instinctively rush headlong into relationships. They simply lack the courage or the tools to confront themselves. But here's the critical insight. If you cannot comfortably sit with yourself, if you cannot truly face your inner landscape, you will never develop the foundational strength required to authentically stand alongside someone else. The Stoic philosophers regarded solitude not as an absence, but as a sacred space for deep self-confrontation. Marcus Aurelius wisely asserted, "Nowhere can a man withdraw to a more peaceful or untroubled retreat than in his own soul." In the quietude of solitude, there is no one to distract you from your inner work, no one to blame for your challenges, and no one to rush to your rescue. It is simply and purely you. And while this unadulterated self-presence can certainly feel unsettling at first, it is precisely this challenging process that ultimately renders you stronger and more resilient than you could ever imagine. Consider solitude in this illuminating way. It is a form of internal pressure, and pressure, when endured constructively, inevitably builds resilience. You learn the invaluable skill of calming your own racing mind when anxiety strikes, rather than depending on an external soothing presence. You discover how to lift yourself up during challenging days instead of passively waiting for someone else to provide comfort or motivation. You learn how to genuinely enjoy the richness of life without needing constant external validation or the perpetual company of others. This, unequivocally, is true strength. And it is a strength that can only be forged and tested in the profound silence of self-reliance. As you grow increasingly stronger in solitude, you also shed the debilitating fear of loss. You come to the empowering realization that you have successfully navigated countless nights alone, that you have survived mornings without the comforting ping of texts, and that you have found peace and even joy during holidays without someone sitting across from you. And once you have undergone that profound experience and emerged with your peace intact, you become, in essence, unshakable. No breakup, no rejection, no absence, however painful, can truly destroy you, because you have already proven to yourself that you possess the inherent capacity to stand firmly on your own. And here lies a powerful paradox. Solitude, the very condition that so many people fear and actively avoid, is often precisely what makes you most attractive. Why? Because genuine independence is profoundly magnetic. People possess an innate ability to sense when you do not need them to survive or feel complete. They can perceive the deep, quiet strength that emanates from an individual who has been forged and refined in the crucible of solitude. And this inner fortitude makes your presence distinctly different. You are no longer desperate, no longer grasping. Instead, you are grounded, self-possessed, and radiate an appealing self-sufficiency. Solitude also possesses the remarkable capacity to sharpen your mind. Without the constant barrage of external noise and social obligations, your thoughts grow clearer, more coherent, and more insightful. You begin to hear the authentic whispers of your own ideas again, often realizing which dreams are genuinely yours and which ones you perhaps carried merely because someone else expected them of you. Solitude cultivates profound focus, and focused energy inevitably builds immense power. Of course, the path of solitude is not always an easy one. There will undoubtedly be nights when it feels overwhelmingly heavy, when you yearn for someone, anyone, to simply be there and reassure you that everything will be okay. But these are precisely the nights when you experience the most profound growth, because each time you bravely sit with that challenging feeling, instead of instinctively fleeing from it, you become incrementally stronger. You come to the empowering realization that you don't actually need saving from an external source. You are entirely capable of saving yourself. That is the authentic strength forged in solitude. It doesn't render you cold or hard. Instead, it makes you steady, calm, and immensely powerful in a way that simply will not break when the inevitable storms of life rage. So, do not run from solitude, embrace it. Train within its transformative embrace, because that is where your deepest, most authentic power is truly born. That is the seventh profound truth. Staying single bestows upon you the invaluable gift of solitude, and within that solitude, you will grow stronger than you ever thought humanly possible. Dedicating yourself to your core mission. One of the most pervasive and limiting traps individuals encounter within the context of an unsuitable relationship is this: they gradually begin to live solely to please someone else. They find themselves altering their personal schedule, adjusting their long-established habits, and even compromising their most cherished goals, all in a relentless effort to keep another person consistently happy and secure. And slowly, subtly, piece by piece, they begin to forget their fundamental purpose for being here. They lose sight of their true mission in life. However, when you are single, you are magnificently free from this debilitating problem. You are under no obligation to justify why you're working late hours, why you're relentlessly grinding on weekends, or why you would choose to spend your evenings studying, training, or diligently building your future rather than passively watching television. You are not compelled to dilute your boundless ambition or temper your drive simply to make someone else feel more secure or comfortable. Instead, you are absolutely free to pursue your life's mission with every ounce of passion, energy, and dedication you possess. The Stoic philosophers held an unwavering belief that every individual is uniquely placed on this earth for a specific reason, a distinct purpose, a path that is entirely and profoundly theirs. Marcus Aurelius eloquently articulated this, writing, "A man's true delight is to do the things he was made for." But here lies a challenging, often unacknowledged truth. Most people never fully experience that profound delight because they are perpetually preoccupied with managing someone else's emotional landscape. They expend far more energy on merely maintaining a fragile peace in their relationship than they do on diligently building towards their life's true purpose. And tragically, at the culmination of their lives, they often find themselves wondering why they feel a deep and persistent sense of emptiness. Staying single provides a crucial safeguard against this unfortunate fate. It grants you the invaluable space and unburdened freedom to throw yourself entirely into your mission without any need for apology or justification. If you harbor the ambition to launch a groundbreaking business, you have the unrestrained ability to do so. If your work requires extensive travel and exploration, you are free to pursue it. If you wish to rise at 4 a.m. every single day and train with the discipline of a warrior, you can. There is no one to chastise you for being too obsessed or working too much. You are empowered to define your life by what truly matters to you, not by how perfectly you fit into someone else's predetermined comfort zone. And here's a fundamental truth about pursuing a significant mission. It often demands a degree of unwavering obsession. It requires profound sacrifice, late nights, early mornings, and sometimes the difficult choice to say no to immediate comfort so that you can unequivocally say yes to pursuing greatness. This level of dedication is exceedingly difficult to maintain if your energy is constantly siphoned off by the need to ensure someone else perpetually feels okay or secure. When you are single, all that invaluable energy remains entirely yours. You gain the precious opportunity to invest it directly into your future, rather than tragically wasting it on unproductive arguments, soul-crushing compromises, or manipulative guilt trips. Consider the individuals you most admire for their outstanding success. The groundbreaking artists, the elite athletes, the visionary leaders, the prolific creators. A significant number of them spent extensive seasons of their lives single. Why? Because they understood, with crystal clarity, that their mission came first. They were not distracted by the emotional demands or the inherent need to please anyone else. They dedicated their best years, their purest energy, to meticulously building something that would ultimately outlast them, something of enduring significance. That is not selfishness, that is the very embodiment of purpose. And here again, we encounter a profound paradox. When you are deeply and passionately focused on your mission, you actually become intrinsically more attractive. People are naturally drawn to individuals with unwavering drive and a clear sense of direction. But, even more importantly, you cultivate a deep and abiding respect for yourself. You look in the mirror and see someone actively building something real and substantial, not someone constantly bending and contorting merely to please others. So, do not be afraid of embracing singleness. Instead, leverage it. This current season of your life is your unique opportunity to focus intently, to build relentlessly, and to chase the mission that burns brightly within you, utterly free from distraction. Because when you live for your profound purpose instead of engaging in the exhausting act of people-pleasing, you cease wasting your life and you truly begin to own it. That is the eighth liberating truth. Staying single allows you to focus fully and unequivocally on your mission, rather than diverting your energy to pleasing others. And that mission, once you commit to it with all your heart, will ultimately yield far more genuine fulfillment than any shallow approval ever could. Building unshakable emotional independence. One of the most profoundly empowering aspects of intentionally choosing to stay single is this: you are compelled to learn, and eventually master, the art of standing firmly on your own emotionally. Most people, tragically, don't even fully grasp the extent to which they unconsciously lean on others until they suddenly find themselves alone. They often rely heavily on a partner to make them feel loved, to soothe them when they're anxious, to lift their spirits when they're down, or even simply to provide a constant reminder that they matter. But when your emotional well-being and sense of self are perpetually tethered to another person, you are, by definition, never truly free. When you are single, that comforting, albeit potentially debilitating emotional safety net is removed, and remarkably, this is a supremely good thing, because it forcibly compels you to develop the crucial life skill of handling your own emotions. You learn, through direct experience, how to effectively comfort yourself when you're overwhelmed by stress, how to summon your own inner motivation when exhaustion sets in, and, crucially, how to resiliently pick yourself back up when life inevitably delivers a blow. This, in its purest form, is emotional independence, and once you have meticulously built this formidable internal resource, no external force, no person, can ever truly take it away from you. At first, this journey towards emotional self-reliance is undoubtedly tough. The quiet nights can feel unexpectedly heavier. The bad days seem to weigh more profoundly. You will undoubtedly experience a powerful urge to reach out to someone, anyone, simply to make the discomfort easier to bear. But if you bravely choose to sit with those difficult feelings, rather than instinctively fleeing from them, something profoundly transformative begins to shift within you. You come to the astonishing realization that you are, in fact, entirely capable of handling it. You don't need someone to swoop in and rescue you. You don't need someone else to define who you are. You possess the innate capacity to carry yourself with strength and dignity through any storm. And the very moment you truly feel that newfound inner strength for the first time, you will never, ever forget its liberating power. The Stoic philosophers, throughout their teachings, placed immense emphasis on this very kind of self-reliance. Epictetus, a former slave who later became a revered teacher of philosophy, famously declared, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And emotional independence is precisely that, mastering yourself. It means refusing to allow your mood to wildly swing in tandem with someone else's emotional state.
It means consciously choosing not to let your inner peace hinge on whether or not someone texts you back promptly. It means steadfastly refusing to let your fundamental happiness collapse simply because a relationship ended or someone walked out of your life. Think for a moment about how many people navigate their lives. A single bad argument can devastate their entire week. A painful breakup can shatter their entire sense of self-worth. One cold or indifferent reply in a text message can leave them consumed by anxiety for days on end. That, unequivocally, is not freedom. That is a form of emotional slavery. And in the vast majority of cases, this emotional fragility stems from the fact that they never truly learned how to stand strong, alone, and self-sufficient. But when you are single, you are granted the invaluable opportunity to deliberately build and strengthen that crucial emotional muscle. You learn how to validate your own existence and worth without needing a constant stream of compliments from others. You learn how to genuinely enjoy your day, finding contentment in simple pleasures, without waiting for someone else's approval to make it meaningful. You discover how to intrinsically create joy and fulfillment from basic, often overlooked aspects of life. Listening to music, engaging in physical exercise, immersing yourself in a good book, or simply savoring moments of quiet reflection. Your happiness fundamentally begins to emanate from within you, rather than being precariously dependent on external circumstances or people. And here lies the profound beauty of emotional independence. It does not render you cold or unfeeling. It does not make you selfish or aloof. Instead, it makes you incredibly stable. It makes you remarkably steady. It transforms you into an individual who is genuinely capable of loving in a far healthier and more sustainable way, precisely because you are not burdening another person with the entirety of your emotional weight. You are already capably carrying yourself. And once more we encounter a powerful paradox. When you reach a point where you don't need anyone else to complete you, you paradoxically discover that you have an even greater capacity for love to give. This love doesn't stem from a place of emptiness or desperation. It flows from a deep internal wellspring of fullness. You are not clinging out of fear. You are consciously choosing to connect out of strength and abundance. So do not shy away from the profound work of building emotional independence during your single season. It might at times feel lonely or challenging, but it is precisely the kind of solitude that trains you, that sharpens your inner resolve, and ultimately that sets you truly free. That is the ninth undeniable truth. Staying single empowers you to build unshakable emotional independence. And once you have savored the taste of that kind of profound freedom, you will never again settle for a love that ultimately costs you your precious inner peace. Achieving wholeness before connection. The most pervasive and insidious lie that many of us are subtly taught from the earliest stages of childhood is this: you absolutely need another person to complete you. Movies romanticize it, popular songs echo the sentiment, and even casual family conversations often reinforce the same seductive, yet ultimately damaging idea, that you are only truly whole, truly complete, when you find your fabled other half. While this narrative certainly sounds romantic and appealing on the surface, it is in reality one of the most dangerous and disempowering beliefs you can possibly carry through life. Because the moment you internalize the belief that you are inherently incomplete, you will inevitably spend your entire existence frantically chasing someone to fill that perceived gap, rather than diligently learning how to stand whole and complete entirely on your own terms. When you embrace singleness, you are granted a precious and unique opportunity to decisively dismantle that pervasive lie. You learn, through profound self-discovery, that you are in fact already more than enough. You do not require someone else to validate your inherent worth. You do not need another person to bestow an identity upon you. You certainly do not need someone else to infuse your life with meaning. You are whole, complete, and perfectly sufficient right now, exactly as you are. And the very moment you genuinely embrace and internalize that liberating truth, everything in your life begins to change irrevocably. Consider how profoundly different your future relationships become
when you already approach them from a place of deep, internal wholeness. You no longer enter them out of a frantic desperation or a gnawing sense of lack. You don't cling anxiously to people simply to avoid the discomfort of being alone. You don't twist yourself into unnatural shapes or compromise your authentic self merely to keep them happy or comfortable. Instead, you choose to connect from a position of abundance, not scarcity. You share your radiant self not because you are empty and seeking to be filled, but precisely because you are overflowing with your own inherent richness and vitality. That, without question, is the healthiest and most authentic form of love, the kind that is a pure, unsolicited gift, rather than a conditional transaction or a desperate plea. The Stoic philosophers possessed a deep and enduring understanding of this fundamental truth. Marcus Aurelius, in his timeless meditations, penned, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." True happiness, he understood, does not magically arrive by finding someone else to complete a broken part of you. It blossoms from the profound realization that you were never broken to begin with. Staying single provides you with the invaluable time, space, and quietude necessary to embark on this transformative journey of self-discovery. Of course, this journey requires dedicated inner work. You will inevitably confront your deepest insecurities. You will be forced to face those parts of yourself that you have diligently tried to hide or suppress. But if you commit to this process, if you courageously do the necessary inner work, you will emerge on the other side having discovered something truly unshakable, a profound and unwavering sense of wholeness that no future breakup can ever truly diminish, no rejection can shatter, and no absence can destroy. And here lies the ultimate paradox. When you finally achieve that profound sense of wholeness entirely on your own, that is precisely when you become genuinely ready to authentically share yourself with another. Not because you desperately need someone to fix you, but because you genuinely desire to walk alongside them as equals, complementing each other's lives from a place of shared strength. You become capable of loving deeply, passionately, and without the paralyzing grip of fear. You can invite people into your life without the constant worry of losing yourself in the process. You can give generously and freely without secretly begging for something specific in return. That, truly, is real, unadulterated strength. So, do not rush headlong into relationships merely to feel complete or validated. Instead, utilize your season of singleness as a sacred time to diligently build your own intrinsic wholeness. Heal the lingering wounds of the past. Strengthen your perceived weak spots. Delve deep to discover the passions, values, and principles that uniquely define who you are. Because the more whole and complete you become on your own, the more profoundly positive and fulfilling every other aspect of your life will invariably become. That is the 10th and final profound truth. Staying single allows you to achieve a deep and resonant sense of wholeness before you ever choose to share yourself with anyone else. And when you finally do share, it will not be from a place of desperate emptiness, but from an overflowing wellspring of strength, freedom, and an unshakable love. So, let's bring all these powerful insights together. Staying single is not a curse or a punishment. It is emphatically not a failure, nor is it something to be ashamed of. On the contrary, it is a magnificent season of profound power, an unparalleled season of accelerated growth, a transformative period where you consciously reclaim your life and meticulously build yourself into an individual who is truly unshakable. When you thoughtfully choose to stay single, you proactively avoid the wrong attachments that could otherwise drag you down into compromise and despair. You vigilantly protect your precious time, that one irreplaceable resource you can never retrieve. You diligently build profound self-mastery without the constant distractions of external demands. You fiercely guard your vital energy from the draining influence of toxic individuals. You learn to genuinely love and cherish your own company, finding peace within yourself. You cease the exhausting pursuit of external validation, understanding your worth intrinsically. You grow exponentially stronger in the crucible of solitude. You focus intently on your core mission rather than diverting your energy to pleasing others. You cultivate unshakable emotional independence, becoming your own anchor. And most importantly of all, you achieve a deep and profound sense of wholeness before you ever consider sharing yourself authentically with anyone else. This profound journey is not a sign of weakness. It is the very definition of strength. It is the purest expression of freedom. It is real, unadulterated power. The Stoics, in their enduring wisdom, consistently believe that the good life emanates from the diligent mastery of oneself, not from a perilous dependence on others. And the undeniable truth is, once you have truly learned to stand alone, firm and confident, you will never again settle for connections or relationships that diminish you or make you feel small. Instead, you will only accept relationships that genuinely add to the richness and purpose of your life, not ones that subtly or overtly take it away. Therefore, if you find yourself single right now, do not rush in a desperate attempt to escape this season. Do not perceive it as an empty gap that needs to be filled immediately. Instead, embrace it as a rare and invaluable gift, an extraordinary opportunity to become the strongest, clearest, and most authentic version of yourself you have ever known. Because the individual who can stand alone, without fear, is truly the one who possesses the inner fortitude to stand anywhere, with anyone, and never, ever lose themselves in the process. And now, the reflection is yours. Ask yourself tonight with profound honesty, am I instinctively running from solitude, or am I courageously growing stronger within its transformative embrace? That single question has the power to change absolutely everything. If this message resonated deeply with you, make sure you subscribe right now, because this journey of self-mastery and empowerment doesn't end here. We are actively building a supportive space where strength, freedom, and profound self-mastery are paramount. And I genuinely want you to walk this path with me. Always remember this fundamental truth. You are not half of anything. You are already inherently whole. Protect that truth with fierce conviction, live by it every single day, and never, under any circumstances, allow the world to convince you otherwise.